So I got this message last week from Emma, and she said something that stopped me cold. She goes, I've been with my Aquarius boyfriend for 8 months now, and I love him to pieces. But sometimes I feel like I'm dating an alien who speaks a completely different language. He's spontaneous, I plan everything. He dreams big, I focus on reality. Are we doomed? And honestly, Emma's not alone. I get dozens of messages like this every month from Capricorn women who are absolutely smitten with their Aquarius men, but wondering if they're fighting a losing battle. Here's the thing though, and this might surprise you, some of the strongest, most fascinating relationships I've ever seen have been between Aquarius men and Capricorn women, but they work in a completely different way than what most people expect from relationships. Today, I'm going to break down everything you need to know about this pairing, why it can be incredibly challenging, why it can be absolutely magical, and most importantly, how to make it work if you're in one of these relationships right now. I'm going to be completely honest with you about the real struggles you'll face, because pretending they don't exist won't help anyone. But I'm also going to show you why this combination, when it works, creates something really special that neither of you could achieve on your own. Let me start by painting you a picture of what typically happens when an Aquarius man and a Capricorn woman first meet. Picture this. She's probably got her week planned out to the minute, her goals clearly defined, her path to success mapped out like a GPS route. She knows exactly where she wants to be in 5 years, and she's taking concrete steps to get there every single day. Then along comes this Aquarius guy, who's talking about changing the world, starting 3 different projects at once, and making plans that sound more like dreams than actual plans. At first, there's often this intense attraction. She's drawn to his vision, his creativity, his ability to think completely outside the box. He's fascinated by her strength, her determination, her ability to actually make things happen in the real world. It's like she's the anchor and he's the sail, and together they could probably conquer anything. But then reality sets in, and this is where it gets tricky. Let me tell you about what really happens in the day-to-day life of this pairing, because this is where most people get it wrong. The Aquarius man isn't trying to be difficult or irresponsible. His brain literally works differently. He sees possibilities everywhere. He gets excited about ideas that might change everything. He thinks 5 steps ahead, but not in a linear way like she does. His mind jumps from possibility to possibility, and what looks like chaos to her is actually his creative process. Meanwhile, the Capricorn woman isn't being controlling or limiting when she wants to make concrete plans. She's being practical because she understands something he sometimes doesn't, that dreams without action plans remain dreams. She's seen too many people talk big and accomplish nothing. Her need for structure isn't about control. It's about actually making things happen. So you get these moments where he'll come home all excited about this amazing new opportunity, and she's looking at their budget thinking, but we haven't even finished the project you started last month. Or she'll try to plan their vacation 6 months in advance, and he's like, why don't we just see how we feel when the time comes? Neither of them is wrong, but they're operating from completely different playbooks. The communication thing is huge with this pairing. Aquarius men tend to communicate in concepts and possibilities. They'll say things like, what if we just packed up and moved to Costa Rica? And they might be half serious, or they might just be exploring the idea out loud. Capricorn women tend to communicate in concrete terms. When she asks, what's your plan for getting that promotion? She wants actual steps, timeline, strategy. I had a client, Sarah, who told me her Aquarius boyfriend once suggested they should just trust the universe with their finances. She nearly lost her mind because to her, that sounded completely irresponsible. But when we dug deeper, what he really meant was that he believed their combined talents and hard work would create opportunities they couldn't even imagine yet. He wasn't suggesting they be reckless. He was expressing faith in their potential. But the way he said it triggered every practical alarm bell she had. This is where understanding each other's languages becomes crucial. When he talks about big dreams and possibilities, he's not necessarily asking her to drop everything and follow him into the unknown. He's sharing his vision of what could be possible. When she talks about plans and timelines, she's not trying to crush his dreams, she's trying to build a bridge between those dreams and reality. Let's talk about the emotional side of this relationship, because this is where it gets really interesting. Aquarius men are often misunderstood as being emotionally detached or cold. That's not accurate at all. They feel things deeply, but they process emotions differently. They tend to intellectualize their feelings, to step back and analyze what they're experiencing, rather than just diving into the emotion itself. Capricorn women, on the other hand, might seem reserved or controlled with their emotions, but that's usually because they're protecting themselves. They've learned that showing vulnerability can be risky, so they tend to only open up when they feel completely safe. The challenge is that his way of processing emotions can make her feel like he doesn't care as much as she does, while her way of protecting herself can make him feel like she doesn't trust him enough to be real with him. But here's what's beautiful about this combination when they figure it out. His emotional perspective can help her see that it's safe to be vulnerable, that not everything has to be analyzed and controlled. Her emotional depth can help him understand that feelings don't always need to be figured out. Sometimes they just need to be experienced and honored.
I remember talking to this couple, Mark and Jessica, who'd been together for 3 years. Jessica told me that early in their relationship, when she was stressed about work, Mark would immediately start brainstorming solutions. She felt like he wasn't really hearing her or caring about how she felt. But Mark explained that problem-solving was how he showed love. He wanted to help her feel better by fixing the situation. Once they understood this about each other, she learned to tell him when she just needed him to listen. And he learned that sometimes being heard is more helpful than being given solutions. Now let's get into the really practical stuff, because this is what makes or breaks these relationships in the long run. The Aquarius man's approach to life is often experimental and flexible. He might change jobs, try new hobbies, explore different philosophies. This isn't instability, it's how he grows and learns. The Capricorn woman's approach is usually more methodical and consistent. She builds on what she's already established, creating steady progress toward her goals. In terms of money, this can be a major source of tension or a major source of strength, depending on how they handle it. She probably wants a solid emergency fund, a retirement plan, maybe a budget that they actually stick to. He might see money as a tool for opportunities and experiences. Neither approach is wrong, but they need to find a middle ground. Some couples I work with have found success by dividing financial responsibilities based on their strengths. She might handle the long-term planning, savings, and practical expenses, while he focuses on researching investments or opportunities for additional income. The key is that they're both involved in major decisions, but they're leveraging what each of them is naturally good at. Career-wise, this pairing can be incredibly powerful when they support each other properly. Her practical skills and his innovative thinking can create something neither of them could achieve alone. I know one couple where she's a project manager and he's a creative director. She keeps his projects on track and on budget, while he keeps her thinking about new possibilities and creative solutions. But it only works if they both respect what the other brings to the table. If she sees his creativity as impractical dreaming, or if he sees her structure as limiting and boring, they'll end up undermining each other instead of supporting each other. Let's talk about social life, because this is another area where they might struggle initially. Aquarius men are usually social in their own unique way. They might have friends from all different walks of life. They might enjoy intellectual conversations about random topics. They might prefer small gatherings where they can really connect with people. Capricorn women might be more selective about their social circle, preferring deeper friendships with people who share their values and goals. The good news is that both signs tend to value quality over quantity when it comes to friendships, so they can usually find common ground here. The challenge might be in how they want to socialize. She might prefer dinner parties where they can have meaningful conversations, while he might want to try that new experimental art show or philosophy meetup. The solution I usually suggest is alternating who chooses the social activities, but with both people staying open to new experiences. She might discover that his quirky events are actually really interesting, while he might find that her more traditional gatherings allow for deeper connections than he expected. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: physical intimacy and romance. This is where the Aquarius man and Capricorn woman pairing can either be absolutely magical or completely frustrating, depending on how well they understand each other. Aquarius men often approach intimacy as another form of connection and exploration. They're interested in the mental and emotional connection as much as the physical one. They might want to talk during intimate moments, or they might be interested in trying new things, or they might sometimes seem like they're thinking about something else entirely. Capricorn women often approach intimacy as a way to feel completely safe and connected with their partner. They usually need to feel emotionally secure before they can be physically vulnerable. They might need more traditional romantic gestures, more predictable patterns, more reassurance that this intimacy means something significant. The key to making this work is understanding that neither approach is better than the other. They're just different. He needs to understand that her need for emotional security isn't boring or limiting. It's actually what allows her to be genuinely passionate and open. She needs to understand that his more experimental approach isn't a sign that he's not taking their connection seriously. It's actually how he shows that he trusts her enough to be completely himself. I worked with one couple where this was a major issue. She felt like he wasn't romantic enough because he didn't do the traditional flowers and dinner routine. But when we dug deeper, we realized he was showing romance in his own way. He'd write her thoughtful emails about things that reminded her of her, or he'd plan surprise adventures that were tailored to her interests. Once she recognized these as his love language, and once he understood that occasionally doing the traditional romantic gesture meant a lot to her, they found a balance that worked for both of them.
Let me tell you about the friendship aspect of this relationship, because when Aquarius men and Capricorn women get this right, they become each other's best friends in the most genuine way. The Aquarius man's ability to see the big picture can help the Capricorn woman step back from her sometimes overwhelming sense of responsibility and remember what she's actually working toward. The Capricorn woman's practical wisdom can help the Aquarius man turn his visions into reality. I know couples where she's helped him start the business he'd been dreaming about for years by creating an actual business plan and timeline, and he's helped her rediscover her own dreams and passions that she'd pushed aside while focusing on practical responsibilities. When they're working together instead of against each other, they create this incredible synergy. But friendship in this relationship requires something that doesn't always come naturally to either of them, letting the other person be who they are without trying to fix or change them. She has to resist the urge to overmanage his creative chaos, and he has to resist the urge to dismiss her practical concerns as limiting. The respect factor is huge here. If she genuinely respects his innovative thinking and vision, and if he genuinely respects her practical wisdom and determination, then they become a team. If either of them start seeing the other's approach as wrong rather than different, that's when problems start. Let's get real about the challenges, because I promised I'd be honest with you. This relationship will test both of your communication skills in ways that might be completely new to you. Capricorn women are used to being with people who communicate more directly and practically. Aquarius men are used to being with people who understand their abstract communication style. You're going to have to learn each other's languages, and that takes patience from both sides. There will be times when she feels like he's not taking their future seriously enough, and times when he feels like she's trying to put him in a box. There will be moments when his need for intellectual freedom clashes with her need for emotional security. There will be days when her practical concerns seem to squash his creative enthusiasm, and days when his big dreams feel completely disconnected from their actual reality. But here's what I've learned from watching dozens of these relationships over the years. The couples who make it work are the ones who stop trying to change each other and start trying to understand each other. They learn to see their differences as complementary rather than conflicting. The Capricorn woman learns to see his dreaming and brainstorming as the first step in a process that she can help make real. The Aquarius man learns to see her practical concerns as valuable input that can help his ideas actually succeed. Instead of him thinking she's limiting his vision, he starts thinking she's helping him build it. Instead of her thinking he's being irresponsible, she starts thinking he's expanding what's possible. I want to talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough in compatibility advice: how to fight productively in this relationship. Because you will disagree, probably more often than couples with more similar approaches to life. But disagreeing isn't the problem. It's how you disagree that matters. When Aquarius men get frustrated, they often withdraw or become intellectually dismissive. They might act like the other person just doesn't understand the bigger picture. When Capricorn women get frustrated, they might become controlling or overly critical. They might act like the other person is being childish or unrealistic. Neither of these approaches helps anyone. What works better is for both people to remember that you're on the same team, even when you disagree about methods.
She can express her practical concerns without making him feel like she thinks his ideas are stupid. He can share his visions without making her feel like she's holding him back for wanting to plan how to achieve them. The conversations that work sound more like, "I love that you're thinking about this possibility. Can we talk through how we might make it happen?" Or, "I can see why you're concerned about the practical side of this. Let me explain what I'm envisioning and see if we can figure out a way to address those concerns." Let me share something that might surprise you. Some of the most successful Aquarius man and Capricorn woman couples I know describe their relationship as organized chaos or grounded innovation. They've learned to create structure that supports creativity rather than limiting it, and creativity that respects practical boundaries rather than ignoring them. One couple I worked with created what they called dream sessions and reality checks. Once a week, they'd have a dream session where he could share all his ideas and visions without her immediately pointing out practical problems. Then they'd have a reality check session where they'd pick one or two of those ideas and work together to figure out how to actually make them happen. Another couple divided their finances into security money and opportunity money. The security money went toward all the practical necessities that were important to her, while the opportunity money could be used for his more experimental investments or ventures. This way, she felt secure knowing their basic needs were covered, and he felt free to explore possibilities without risking their stability.
The timeline thing is something you'll need to navigate carefully. Capricorn women usually think in terms of timelines and milestones. She probably knows where she wants to be in her career by age 30, or when she wants to buy a house, or how long she wants to date before getting engaged. Aquarius men often resist timelines because they feel limiting. He might be just as committed to the relationship, but he doesn't want to feel like he's following someone else's script for how it should unfold. The compromise that works for most couples is creating flexible timelines. Instead of, "we need to be engaged by next year," it might be, "we both want to be moving toward a deeper commitment, and we'll check in every few months about how we're feeling about timing." Instead of, "you need to have a career plan by age 25, it might be, "we both want to be financially stable, and we'll support each other in figuring out the best path to get there." Let's talk about family dynamics, because this can be a big factor in how well this relationship works long term. Capricorn women often come from families that value achievement, stability, and traditional markers of success. Her family might have expectations about her partner's career, lifestyle, or plans for the future. Aquarius men often come from families that are more accepting of unconventional paths, or they might have learned to not worry too much about family expectations. This can create tension if her family doesn't understand his approach to life, or if his family thinks she's too serious or controlling. The key is presenting a united front while still honoring both of your family relationships. She might need to help her family understand what she values about his unique perspective. He might need to make more effort to communicate his commitment and seriousness about their future in ways her family can understand. I want to address something specific for the Capricorn women listening to this. You might sometimes feel like you're the only one being practical in the relationship, like you're the only one thinking about real-world consequences. That can feel exhausting and unfair. But remember that his contribution might be less visible, but equally important. His ability to envision new possibilities, to think creatively about problems, to remain optimistic when things get challenging. These are valuable contributions to your shared life, even if they don't look like traditional responsibility. And for the Aquarius men, you might sometimes feel like she doesn't believe in your dreams or trust your judgment. But remember that her practical concerns usually come from a place of wanting to help you succeed, not wanting to hold you back. Her experience with planning and execution can actually help you achieve things you might never accomplish on your own. The magic happens when you both start seeing each other as essential partners rather than obstacles to overcome. When she starts thinking, his creativity helps me imagine possibilities I never would have considered. And he starts thinking, her practical skills help me turn my ideas into reality. One of the most beautiful things about this pairing when it's working well is how much you can learn from each other. The Capricorn woman might discover parts of herself she never knew existed, a more spontaneous side, a more optimistic outlook, a willingness to take calculated risks. The Aquarius man might develop skills he never thought he needed, better planning abilities, more consistent follow-through, a deeper appreciation for building something lasting. I know one couple where she said, Before I met him, I was so focused on checking off life goals that I forgot to actually enjoy the journey. He taught me that the path to success can be an adventure, not just a grind. And he said, before I met her, I had a million ideas, but never seemed to finish anything. She taught me that the most innovative thing you can do is actually complete something amazing. Let's talk about the long-term potential of this relationship. If you can navigate the initial learning curve, if you can develop respect for each other's approaches, if you can learn to communicate in ways that honor both of your styles, then this pairing can create something really special. You become each other's missing piece in the best possible way. Her grounding helps his dreams take root in reality. His vision helps her goals connect to something larger and more meaningful. Together, you can build something that's both innovative and lasting, both creative and practical. But it requires conscious effort from both people. This isn't the kind of relationship that works on autopilot. You have to actively choose to understand each other, to value each other's contributions, and to support each other's growth. The reward for that effort is a partnership that helps both of you become more than you could be on your own. So if you're a Capricorn woman wondering if your Aquarius man is worth the effort, or if you're an Aquarius man wondering if your Capricorn woman really gets you, here's what I want you to know. This relationship isn't easy, but it can be incredibly rewarding. The question isn't whether you're compatible, it's whether you're both willing to learn each other's language, respect each other's approach, and work together to create something that honors both of your natures. The couples that make this work don't eliminate their differences. They learn to make their differences work for them. They become living proof that opposite approaches to life don't have to mean opposite goals, and that you can love someone deeply precisely because they see the world so differently than you do. Take Emma, who I mentioned at the beginning. 6 months after that first message, she sent me another one that said, "We're still complete opposites in so many ways, but now I see how that actually makes us stronger. He helps me dream bigger, and I help him build those dreams. We're not trying to change each other anymore, we're trying to learn from each other, and it's amazing what we can create together." That's what's possible with this pairing. Not a perfect, effortless romance, but a conscious, growing partnership that makes both people better versions of themselves. If that sounds like something worth working for, then you've got everything you need to make this relationship incredible.